Welcome to r/relationships. Here are 2 stories for your enjoyment, hopefully. Story number 1. My female 37 boyfriend, 34, still chats with his ex, female 33, regularly, and hasn't posted about me on social media, but did when he was with her. Our relationship is otherwise awesome. Am I creating problems when there are none? I have been dating my boyfriend for about 6 months now, and everything has been great. He's been patient, respectful, thoughtful, all the good things. We are on the same wavelength, and have the same sense of humor, are getting closer with time, and we have amazing consistent relations, have 1 to 2 hour long phone conversations, never run out of things to talk and giggle about, and just have a lot of fun together. Emotional, intellectual, sensual connection. Background info: it's my first serious relationship in a long time. I've had bad experiences in the past. I've been cheated on by a former boyfriend, with his ex. I put up with crap I shouldn't have. These experiences kind of traumatized me, and I've tried to work through them with therapy. I'm a lot less reactive, and am surprising myself with how vulnerable and communicative I've been with my current guy, but I can't seem to shake the suspiciousness I always have. I even have it with my platonic friends. I've been let down, lied to, ghosted, gaslighted, humiliated, abused so many times by exes, former friends, even my family, that I'm constantly hypervigilant, constantly scanning situations and people to see if they are going to F me over. So far, my guy has gone out of his way to do things to make me feel more comfortable. He offered the keys to his place, but he doesn't have them to mine. We've hung out with his best friends here. We spent a weekend away at a cabin before Christmas, had a blast, spending 3 consecutive days with each other, and it felt like we got closer. His mom knows and asks about me. She called one night I was over and was on speakerphone, and we chatted briefly, and she told my boyfriend she's happy he's spending time with me. We had to spend Christmas apart. His parents are far away and super paranoid of COVID and are at risk, but he said he would have loved to bring me along. We FaceTime and text daily, and he's wished my parents Merry Christmas and has said more than once that he hopes he can meet them in person soon. He also sends me sweet, thoughtful messages/inside jokes throughout the day. He's generous, funny, empathetic, consistent, affectionate, funny. The list goes on. I have grown to really like him. He's told me that this is the best relationship he's been in. He's never dated anyone like me, said I'm the full package, and check off all the boxes. He consistently tells me how much he misses me, randomly during the day, asks how my day is going, comes to me for advice, etc. Sometimes when we say goodbye, he'll stand on the sidewalk watching me as I drive off, even if it's freezing cold out. Here's what bugs me, and I don't know if I'm just creating problems when there aren't any, or if this is legit, but the good outweighs the bad. He was with his ex for about 3.5 years, broke up 3.5 years ago. They lived together, and apparently got along really well. He moved here for work. She was unhappy here. They parted ways, but settled into a close friendship, and text often, which is a bit of a red flag to me, but just about cats and food, and that they don't talk about anything personal. She lives about 6 hours away, not in the hometown he's in right now, and apparently has a boyfriend. Apparently, their relationship lacked passion/romance, and they rarely got intimate. We didn't have much relations, he told me, reluctant and embarrassed. I have no idea if the lack of sensual attraction was mutual or one-sided, but I was always surprised when I saw pics of her. She seems nice/cool, but doesn't seem like his physical type, and is vastly different physically from me, and I just didn't see much chemistry in their few pics together. Just looked like 2 buds hanging out. I hate to say this, but I'd feel a lot more threatened if A, she was his type physically. I know looks aren't everything, and I'm trying not to sound shallow. B, she lived here. C, they'd actually had relations. But there's also emotional cheating. I'm so attracted to him, and vice versa. We can't keep our hands off each other. He's constantly complimenting me, and I've joked and asked if me grabbing/jumping his bones bothers him, and he said no. It makes me feel good about myself. About a month ago, I realized that a sentimental wall hanging actually belonged to his ex, or one of his old roommates. he said, and there was a postcard with a carton on the side of his fridge. One day I read it, and it was a note from her saying I love you on the other side. I calmly brought this up to him, and he said he didn't even realize it, and immediately took them down and put them away. He doesn't balk at my requests. What makes me uncomfortable, which I often talk myself out of voicing, he doesn't refuse, or turn it around on me, or call me jealous, or crazy, which an ex has done. He is quick to remedy situations, to make me feel more comfortable. I then developed a photo of us, and gave it to him, and he put it up on his wall. Out with the old, in with the new. Social media / pics. He doesn't really go on Instagram or Facebook anymore. He hadn't posted on Instagram since 2019, except for a few weeks ago, a tribute to his brother who passed away recently. He does, however, have a ton of pics of this same ex from like 4 to 5 years ago, of just her, on vacations, etc. He was posting more often back then, but he hasn't posted anything about me, and this irrationally bothers me. I also noticed, when he showed me something on his iPhone, that he had a contact photo up for his ex, but he still does not have one of me. I have one of him. I know these are minor things, but I can't help but be bothered by them. I've tried to gently, playfully bring up the contact photo thing, telling him which pic I used for him, and asked what he put up for me, and he said he hasn't uploaded one for me. I'm sure it's not intentional, but the fact that they text often, and he's got a pic of her. He takes pics of me often, especially lately. When we did our weekend away, he was snapping pics of us, selfies, of us kissing, and took tons of pics and videos of me. He sent the pics / vids to his mom, telling me what her reactions were. Another thing, his Wi-Fi network name is his name with hers. Dude, it's been 3 years. He said he tried to change it and couldn't figure it out with his airport router. I sent him instructions on how to. He still hasn't changed it. 3 years. So, I'm dealing with him texting her regularly. I can't tell him what to do, but he said they text way less often since he and I got involved, having a contact pic of her and not me, having posted about her on Instagram and not of me yet, his and hers Wi-Fi network name, all of this, and they never boned? I don't get it, man. I'm angry that I'm letting this chick affect my otherwise awesome relationship. I'm so careful to not seem like an irrationally jealous girlfriend. So far, he's completely understood and apologized for everything and quickly changed it up. I don't know. All this stuff is bugging me, and I don't know how to approach it. I don't want to be juvenile, and I'm trying to focus on all the good, and there's a lot of it. Here's the first comment. Some people really simply don't care, be it pictures from a few years ago with exes, be it decoration in their home. So yeah, you are creating problems where there are none. It's understandable that you're concerned because of your past, however, that's not your boyfriend's fault. Furthermore, if I were you, I'd get to know his ex in the near future. Here's the next comment. Probably you could just speak your mind and get everything you want right now. Just say, hey, put a pic of me in your phone. Hey, put a pic of us on Instagram. He would probably do it. He doesn't know you are tripping about this. Just ask him to do the little stuff you want. Don't you do a bunch of little things he wants? Why not just ask him? If he actually pushes back and asks why, just say why not, and then drop it forever. I doubt he will give you problems about those little requests though. He sounds so nice. Good for you. Here's the next comment. Some perspective. You talk every day with him, go on vacations, speak with his mother, feel you're in an awesome relationship, and yet you're upset he hasn't got a picture of you set as your caller ID. He hasn't changed a Wi-Fi name that he probably doesn't even notice after logging in the first time. When do you notice the network name, except when someone asks you what it is? You can ask him to do something about both of these problems, as well as Instagram. I don't think it's fair to demand he delete photos / memories of his life, but you could ask that he puts 1 or 2 up of you both together, or save the ones from his past relationship offline. The important thing is to admit why you're asking him to do these things. It's a feeling of deep insecurity and fear. You say you've tried dealing with this in therapy. Are you still in therapy? because what you're obsessing over is not healthy, and eventually it will destroy this or any relationship. What if he starts a new hobby you don't share, say climbing, makes friends with a woman, they go for a quick drink after climbing each week? Would you be comfortable with this? Would you start worrying they shared something in common that you and he do not, and that maybe he'd run off with her? This insecurity is from your past, as you acknowledge, but while you should expect a loving partner to adapt to support your insecurities and make some sacrifices, you also need to do something about them yourself, because they are not healthy, and if unaddressed, resentment will start building in the relationship. Maybe it didn't seem relevant to the post, but you haven't mentioned your boyfriend and his wants and needs. Some relationships are able to end amicably, and because the people still love each other they want the other to be happy, and they want to stay in touch. It sounds to me like you're on the way toward asking him to go no contact with his ex. But is this because they're doing something shady, or because you feel your insecurity trumps his friendship with someone he cares for a lot? Especially if you're not willing to try to work on your insecurities, you should have an honest discussion with him so that he is fully aware of how this will impact your relationship and his life. Best of luck. Here's the next comment. You're absolutely making mountains out of molehills. Let them be pals. Quit stalking 4-year-old posts. Quit seeing any reminders of the friendly regard for each other that they had/still have as a threat, and just enjoy developing your relationship. I promise you, you're not dealing with anything except your own insecurities, and in a new 6-month relationship, your grip needs to be a lot looser anyway. It sounds like you genuinely like each other though, so as long as you don't get in your own way, you've got a good thing going. Here's the next comment. You already said that your guy's on good terms with all his exes. You should tell him if it bugs you. Also, him not posting your picture on social media really does not mean anything. Social media is fake anyway. He's telling you that this is the best relationship he's ever been in. Trust him and communicate. Story number 2. I, female 37, want to leave my husband, male 41, over luggage. My husband and I have been married for 10 years and have one child, who is 7. We are both lucky to have good stable jobs, and while we aren't wealthy, we are very comfortable. We live below our means and have a healthy emergency savings account as well as well-funded retirement accounts and a college fund for our daughter. My husband was brought up in a family where money is basically the only thing that matters. His parents view thrift as the equivalent of moral good. Even though they had plenty of income, when my husband was growing up, they reused their tea bags and purchased everything secondhand. It was pathological. They once got their house infested with bed bugs by bringing home a mattress his dad found behind a dumpster. When my brother-in-law divorced and his ex moved to states over with their sons, he decided not to exercise his monthly visitation because it was too expensive to pay for the gas to drive to see them. When he said this, his parents just nodded, like saving $100 was a valid reason to abandon his children. Well, okay, he does see them once a year. My husband is nowhere near this bad. He agreed to buy a new mattress, but he still insists on saving money wherever possible. I don't usually mind. Used cars and gently used children's clothes are okay with me, but when I do want something new, even something small, it always turns into a big deal. Always. Cue the suitcase incident. I work in HR. Pre-COVID, I traveled once or twice a month overnight for work to do training at our branch locations. The old handheld suitcase I was using got pretty beaten up, so I purchased a hard-sided wheeled bag to replace it. I wanted something durable that would work in an overhead compartment or a car trunk and that I wouldn't have to physically carry. I bought it at a department store and spent around $70 on it. I'm not traveling for work anymore, but last week I was in the attic looking for something and noticed my suitcase wasn't there. I asked my husband if he had seen it, and he nonchalantly said he had returned it. When I asked why, he said it had been too expensive, and he had found one just as good for $10 at Goodwill. He got it for me, and it turned out to be an oversized soft-sided suitcase with no wheels and a broken zipper. When I saw it, it was like something snapped. I completely lost it. I screamed at him that I was tired of working my tail off and not being able to spend any money on something I needed. I yelled that the suitcase was crap and that he needed to go to counseling to deal with the baggage he had from being raised by his crazy whack money obsessed parents. I said I wasn't going to let him dictate my purchases anymore, and that if I wanted to buy something new at a store rather than Walmart or the Dollar Tree, I was damn well going to do it. Then I stormed out. Our daughter was with my parents at the time, so she didn't hear anything. Since then, we've been polite in front of our daughter, but have basically ignored each other otherwise. When we tried to talk about it, he said I'm in the wrong for causing such a huge fight over a suitcase. I know I can't get him to understand that it isn't about the suitcase, and I'm not sure I have the energy to try. I can't live like this anymore, and I'm thinking of leaving him. Am I being stupid? What should I do? Here's the first comment. This isn't about luggage. This is about you having to bend to his financial will. You are half the household. If he can't put his big boy pants on, he can explain to the world why he's divorced. Here's the next comment. Here's a question. Does your husband realize what an utter failure his brother is as a father because of their unhealthy miserliness? Or does he agree with his parents or excuse him in any way? Because that's the sort of father he is going to be to your daughter, who is increasingly going to be impacted by his ill-placed priorities. Tell your husband you are going to counseling, with or without him. This is his last chance to save the marriage, and if he can't even see that it is completely unreasonable to take something of yours behind your back and get rid of it, there isn't any hope he can be in a healthy relationship. Here's the next comment. Your husband needs to learn a hard lesson that my family is passing down ever since my great-grandfather. If you buy cheap, you buy twice. In the end, having to replace 5 rundown suitcases is more expensive than one new, quality one that lasts. Having to have an exterminator come to save you from bed bugs costs more than a mattress. Needing orthopedic treatment because second-hand shoes screwed up your skeleton costs more than new, quality shoes. Being a cheapskate costs money, it doesn't save it. That is why the poor stay poor, because there's always something broken down that needs replacing. If you really want to be efficient with money, you have to buy quality. If you can find quality second-hand, great. Buy that then. Things to never buy second-hand: shoes, mattresses, underwear, and any kind of cloth or cushioning that can't be cleaned. Tell him that he's wasting money by being cheap in the wrong places. Maybe he'll see the light. Here's the next comment. Money is one of the most common reasons couples break up, and you definitely have different financial styles. It's definitely worth seeing if you can both go and talk to someone to see if it's something you can work through. I mention this because extreme frugality can be a sign of trauma or abuse as a child. And by the sounds of it, it may not have been him. It may have been his parents who had the trauma. But to be honest, I don't think anyone would judge you for getting out. You're right about you should be able to enjoy the money you work hard to earn. And to be honest, a $70 expense, which where I am, would be a tax deduction, is far from extravagant. Here's the next comment. I grew up really poor, and I've had to work through issues when it comes to spending money. That being said, your husband is on another level completely. Therapy would be very helpful for him, but obviously isn't practical if he's unwilling to go and can't see that his behavior is a problem. He's being super controlling. It's your money too. Buying a broken $10 suitcase isn't even being frugal or careful with money. He's literally just buying garbage. Buying a good item that will last 4 years, as you did, is a much better investment. I don't blame you for wanting to leave. It sounds exhausting. Thanks for watching.